And one principle that I have with movies at the moment, I think after watching 10, 15 years of movies and the iterations of movies, there was a time where I liked Fast and Furious. There was a time back in the day in the one and the two and maybe the
Yeah,
three.
Too
I
Fast, Too
kind of like what
Furious.
was
I only
happening.
like
Yeah,
three,
Too
Tokyo
Fast, Too
Drift.
Furious. No,
Exactly. And here
I
comes my
liked
principle
Too
now.
Fast, Too Furious also. That was decent. But we
It
were
was
kids
no, that's
back.
That's
what.
We were
because
kids
that
back
duo
then.
were funny. Paul Walker and Tyrese, they were funny as in that
Yeah,
period.
they're
Yeah,
funny. They were funny.
yeah,
That's there. That's there.
yeah.
But no, it brings me to my principle now that I kind of follow with movies, right? Any movie franchise that has the number three to it, I'm done. I am done. No, no, no bueno, no thank you. I'm out of here. Space Jam 1, I'm okay with it. And I loved it. Space Jam 2, looking forward to it. Probably won't love it, but it'll be fun. Space Jam 3,
Oh,
no
really? I
thanks.
mean, so is that this? Do
And
you apply that
yeah,
for Lord of the Rings as well?
I was gonna say that.
Lord of the
I
Rings
was
is
just gonna
Lord.
say
Again. Yes, let me. And again, I told you, I'm a consistent person
No.
with arguments. Lord,
that.
hear me out. I said back in the day, up to three was fine. And Lord of the Rings was in that realm itself.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So back in the day, all that was fine. They were consistent with my this thing. If there was a Lord of the Rings 4 and 5, which I did, the Hobbit series and stuff like that, I'm sorry, I didn't really like it. Good lore,
Okay,
fun to
okay.
see the background. I would have preferred to read the book than watch the
But
movie any given
honestly,
day.
Linoy, but honestly, Advait also, the thing is you can't compare Lord of the Rings to these things because Lord of the Rings is a book.
Yeah.
So if you say the Lord of the Rings, there's the Fellowship, there's the what do you
The Two
say,
Towers.
Towers, and
Two
then the
Towers.
Two Towers
Return
and
of
the
the King.
Return of the King.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually one whole book. It's just partitioned into three within the big book, right? So they
Yeah, makes
partitioned the
sense.
movie also.
Yeah,
So it
makes
makes
sense.
sense. So
And
so you could say you could take it as one whole big movie,
So
to be
if they
honest.
split Deathly Hallows
You know?
into three parts, right, then we'd be like, bye bye, tata, bye bye for it, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And again, this putting this argument on Harry Potter. Harry Potter, like what you said, it's a story divided into so many books, and that story was continuous. It made sense, and even though there were a bunch of movies, it was in line with how the books came out. So again, over there, I'm okay. Deadly Hallows Part One, Part Two. The only justification I have for that is the books themselves contained quite a bit of story,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'm very glad that they didn't shrink it into one movie and destroy it. I don't think they did justice to it in two movies either. But if they had split it into three movies, I was can retain my argument and be like, yeah, thank you very much, paid enough,
But bro, the
read the books, I
movies,
know what's gonna
Harry Potter
happen.
movies were rubbish. If you're a person who's read the book and if you're a fan of the
Mm,
books,
mm.
the Harry Potter movies have been utter rubbish. But that's not the case with Lord of the Rings. That's why I'm really happy with Lord of the Rings, right? I've read the books, right? I've read the original books and what do you say, the book to be
Yeah.
more accurate. I've read
Be
the original
precise.
book, yeah, and what do you say? I've watched the movies. Yes, there are a few small minor details which are inaccurate here and there, but then again, overall, Peter Jackson has done a brilliant job with the movies,
He
right?
really did, man.
But with the Harry Potter series, man, I'm like, no, they just
I mean, I tell
ruined
you
the
what went wrong. I tell
books.
you what went wrong with Harry Potter. I think the first two books were a very manageable size in terms of the length of the story itself. And when a book is small, you can translate most of it onto screen time in one movie, like 1.5 hours. But quickly after the second book, third book, fourth book, fifth book, I think there was an incremental update in the size of the books as well. And that quickly becomes a problem in terms of storytelling within 1.5, 2 hour period. So I think they definitely lost out over there. And secondly, they did it at a time where you don't have the current CGI. I mean, they had a lot of CGI privilege back then, and that's why the movie looked as good as it did. But they definitely did it a little too soon. Right after the book came out, they were kind of trying to capitalize on that hype, and they made those movies. They made visually well, I would say, but in terms of story, there's only so much you can fit into 1.5 hours. And in terms of editorial choices that they took over there, yeah, definite flaws because the books are so much more wholesome. There's so much more nuances to the books that you just can't get in the movies.
And that's the sad part, right? Now the kids are, and not leave the kids, even the adults, if they have an option between the movie and the book, the general populace is going to lean towards the movie, and they're missing out so much good stuff which is there
I
in the
mean,
books, you
for
know?
Harry Potter, I can definitely say this from my end. If you really want to enjoy Harry Potter, first read the book, then watch the
Exactly.
movie.
You don't
It
need to
feels
even
nice
watch
to
the
see
movie.
what you read.
Dude,
You don't even
I
need to
mean,
watch the
it's an
movie
option
to be
of
every
the.
kid
honest.
growing up should read that book, bro. Every kid should read that book, bro. Honestly, the
I
Harry Potter
swear.
was one of the best. Like, it made my childhood, man. Harry Potter was the scene. I remember, dude, like getting into arguments with people, with my classmates in fourth grade about Harry Potter, bro. Come on, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Harry Potter was the best, man. I remember when the Deathly Hallows came out, I was outside a bookstore. The name of the bookstore also I still remember is DC Bookstores. So it was a worldwide release. So it was at 12 a.m. release in London, a corresponding time all over the world. So I'm standing outside this bookstore at 5:30 a.m. in the morning in line.
Oh
I was
shit,
the
you're
first
one of
person to.
those.
I was. Yeah, I was the first
Yeah,
person to stand in
I know
front
the
of the
story.
bookstore at 5:30 a.m. in the line, and by around 6, 7, when the bookstore was gonna open, there was at least 40 people standing behind me. I was the first person to get the book in Calicut. So
Wow.
I went and picked up the book. Yeah. So the Deathly Hallows. Yeah. So I still remember that whole experience. So you understand where I stand, right, when it comes to the movies and the books and why I'm so disappointed. Like the books were everything to me, and when the movies came out, I was like, oh my god, my imagination just got shot. It got murdered.